There's a very simple reason why you're not manifesting and materializing the things that you want. It's simply you don't know what you want. The truth of the matter is, as we go through our lives and we go on this journey of spirituality and coming into the understanding as to who you are, it means really tapping into understanding what resonates with you. As you are on this journey, you're going from being led by the ego, being led by this false self, which you identified with and understood as to who you are, to consciousness and understanding who you really are. And so on this journey, you are deciding and creating things that you desire and understanding what you desire and coming into an understanding as to what things are important, what's not important. But all of those things are related to and are byproducts of what somebody else told you is important, what somebody else told you you want, what somebody else told you is valuable. And as you have gone through life, creating this reality based on the false self, you have essentially decided with this false self, this false identity, the ego, that these things are important. And if somebody else who has raised me, somebody else whom I have valued and who I think their opinion matters, if they say it is so, then it must be so. And so you have accepted that as your reality as well. But the truth of the matter is that reality is false because that reality is grounded in the ego, the false self. And so as you go through life and you go through this spiritual journey, the most difficult aspect of it is recognizing that those things that you thought were important, those things that you were taught were important, are in fact not important at all. In fact, they're meaningless. They have no importance. They have no value. They mean nothing to you along this journey of absolute truth. And so as you are on this journey, the most difficult part is shedding that false self and that false reality. Why is it difficult? Because you have been so attached to it for so long, and you feel a sense of not really knowing who you are because this was once who you thought you were. But the most beautiful part of the journey is coming into the faith that you will figure it out. You must simply have to walk the path. And as long as you are continuing to walk this path, you are pretty much guaranteed to figure it out. So keep walking. Now, as you are taking this path, understand that the only way that you can truly create the things that you desire is by asking yourself, what is it that you desire? And that sounds pretty simple. That sounds like something that is common sense, makes obvious sense, right? But it's something that's more harder than you think, much more difficult than you think. Because every time you ask that question, your ego is the first thing that is answering it, okay? So just because you come up with immediate answers for the question, what do you want? It doesn't mean that that first answer is the right one. Because your ego is very quick, is very aggressive, it is very, it dominates, right? But it dominates from a place of fear. Fear of not being accepted. It dominates from a place of wanting to be loved because it acknowledges and thinks that you are separate from everything else and everyone else. So therefore, you have to fit in, right? You have to be accepted. You have to get people's approval. That isn't the truth. That isn't the reality of consciousness. Consciousness knows that you are in fact one with everything. Therefore, love is simply a part of life. It is life. And so as you go from ego to consciousness and you continue to ask these questions, what do I want? Then you begin to shift from seeing what it is that people have told you to want, right? The $1 million, the dream car, the mansion, the dream house, right? The love of your life, that a particular person that you've always had this crush, this admiration for, right? This person that you always adored. right? All of those things that were fed to you, that were programmed in your subconscious mind, and thus is being fortified with the ego, because the ego wants to be as safe as possible. It wants to be accepted. It wants to do whatever it takes so that everybody can not criticize you, that everybody cannot be resistant to you and what it is that you truly want. So as you step away from this ego mentality, this ego mindset being led by the ego, you are allowing yourself to recognize that everybody's not going to approve with what you truly desire and who you truly are. And that is okay. That is part of the journey. That is the test of truly tapping into your true potential, right? Your true self. And so as you continue to ask this question, what do I want? It will begin to dissolve the false answers, right? The default answers that we were fed and told to want. It will lead you to a place of true authenticity, because as you keep asking yourself that question and you keep coming up with those false answers from the ego, the false self, well, what happen is those answers will begin to lose value. They will begin to lose power. And then consciousness can come in and give you the true answers based on the true self, who you are, right? Your most authentic self. And as you continue to ask the questions, you start getting these interesting, maybe even considered weird answers. But those weird answers will in fact ignite your passion. They will give you drive and motivation. They will allow you to actually live life the way you are supposed to live it, the way you are custom built to live it. And so you have to continue to ask those questions. What do I want? Okay, you think you want $1 million, but what is it about the $1 million that actually you need, you desire, you are passionate about? Is it the lifestyle that $1 million you think will create? Then it needs to be clear. It is the lifestyle. It is not the $1 million. Okay, you want an amazing relationship with this person. Is it really that person that you want the relationship with? Or is it some of the characteristics of that person? Is it a person who is truly interconnected and really wanting to bond with you, right? Is it the person that truly accepts you for you? Or are you looking at that person and you are putting that person on a pedestal, right? But yet that person is not acknowledging you for you. You need to be clear as to the truth, the core of what it is that you want, not so much the superficial layer of what you want, because the superficial layer of what you want is coming from the ego and that false self. So once you recognize that, then you begin to get more clarity as to what you want. And when you have more clarity as to what you want, then you are pretty much halfway there as to creating what you want. But many times we have these interesting goals, ideas, and admirations of things that we want. But the reason why we're not manifesting that, the reason why you are not manifesting that is because in reality, you don't want it. You see, because if you really wanted it, you would do whatever it takes to get it, making sure that it is in alignment with who you are, your highest good, right? That it is contributing to the collective because you are one with the collective, that it is expressing yourself and expressing to the world the beauty that we all have, that is within us all, the power that is within us all. So as you go through your life and you understand this truth, you see that the reality of the things that we want, okay, are just expressions and byproducts of what we were taught. But as we get older and we come into true agency as to our ability to create our reality, then you gain an understanding that you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper into what you want, because if you're saying that you want this thing and it isn't materializing itself, then you have to ask this question. You have to ask yourself, then do I really want it? Because I am not obviously doing all that it takes to get it. And when you're not doing all that it takes to get it, then you have to see that something about this is false. Something about this isn't real. Something about this doesn't truly resonate with who I am. Then you have to acknowledge that it is because this quote unquote wanting or desire that you think you have is based on the ego, is based on the subconscious, just simply wanting that thing because you were told to want it, wanting that thing because it means acceptance, it means power, it means something that truly isn't who you are. If you do want it authentically from the core, from your purest place, purest essence, then you will simply continue and do whatever it takes to get it. It would align with your best good. It would align with you as a complete and whole being. And thus, everything that you do will slowly begin to materialize and manifest that desire. And it will feel effortless. It will feel easy almost. Even though to other people, it can be looked at as something that is completely difficult, even almost impossible to do. But you have to just recognize that because you are truly custom built for that thing becomes effortless. It becomes easy. It becomes simple. Whereas to other people, it is hard for them because they are not built for it. And this is ultimately what I'm talking about. Being clear that the thing that you truly want is the thing that completely is designed and built for your consciousness to create. That you are built to create. You see? So you have to continue to ask yourself the question, especially if you have been saying you have wanted this for so long and so many years, and you haven't come close to creating it, then you have to continue to ask, then what is it that you truly want? And when you are continuing to ask that question, knowing that the first answers are usually that from the ego, and the more you ask the question, that answer begins to lose its value, the true answer will eventually reveal itself to you by way of consciousness. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter. When you do, you will also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.